Okay, let's dive into this fantastic novel by Amitav Ghosh, Gun Island. It's this amazing story that takes an old myth and shows how it's basically a roadmap for the crises we're facing right now. It's wild.
So the whole book kicks off with this really big question, right? What if a story from like 400 years ago actually holds the key to understanding our biggest problems today? Gouache just grabs this ancient folktale and bam, turns it into this incredible mirror reflecting our own world back at us. All right, to really get into Gun Island, you have to go where the main character, Dean, goes. We start in the mangrove forests of the Sundarbans with this old legend. And this quote from Gosh, it just nails the central idea of the book, this constant tug of war between what we want, profit, progress, and the world itself.
Okay, a legend in the mangroves, the mystery of the gun merchant and the snake goddess. So our main guy is Dean. He's a rare book dealer, kind of minding his own business, when he gets pulled into this legend about a figure called Banduki Saudagar, or the gun merchant. The story goes that he totally ticked off Manasa Devi, the goddess of snakes, by refusing to worship her, and she made his life difficult. Now, the legend itself sounds pretty epic. It's all about this merchant fleeing from the goddess's anger, traveling through these fantastical lands to escape her. It seems like just another folktale, but then Dean visits this old shrine, and he realizes, wait a second, the symbols here, the story, something's off. It's not just a story, it's more like a puzzle box, just waiting for someone to find the key. Next up, the etymological mystery, unlocking the secret language of the legend. And this is where things get really cool. The mystery doesn't get solved with a car chase or a fight scene. Nope, it's all about words. The whole thing cracks open because of the hidden meanings in words that people have forgotten or just gotten wrong over hundreds of years. So, what does gun merchant really mean? On the surface, the myth says Banduki Sadagar was a merchant of banduk, guns. Simple enough. But the reality? Whoa. Dean figures out that Banduki isn't about guns at all. It actually comes from al-Bundukaya, which was the Arabic name for Venice. So he wasn't a merchant of guns, he was a merchant who traveled to Venice. That one word flips the entire story on its head. And that leads to the next question. What about Gun Island? The myth makes it sound like an island full of guns, right? An arsenal. But the reality is, it's Venice, an island city. And get this. The word ghetto, which we all know, actually comes from an old Venetian word for a foundry, a place where they cast cannons. The myth wasn't a fantasy, it was hiding real history right there in the open. So once they have this key, the whole mythical journey just clicks into place. All these fairy tale sounding locations, they're just code. The land of palm sugar candy? Well, the Bengali word for that sounds a lot like Misr, which is Egypt. The land of kerchiefs points to Turkey. The island of chains is Sicily. It was never a myth. It was a map, a hidden history of a real 17th century voyage from India to Europe. Okay, part 3. Myth becomes modern reality. The 17th century journey versus the 21st century crisis. Because this is where the book just grabs you and shows how this old, dusty story is happening all over again, right now. So you have these two journeys, separated by 400 years. Back then, the gun merchant starts as a wealthy trader on a business trip, but he gets captured by pirates and sold into slavery. In the 21st century, you have characters like Tipu and Rafi. They're not merchants, they're desperate people fleeing poverty and climate disaster. And their journey? It's a terrifying path run by human traffickers. Ghosh is basically screaming at us that the old slave trade isn't history. It's still here, it just has a different name. And the book makes it crystal clear what's driving this new migration. It's climate change. It's the cyclones, the floods, the rising sea levels in places like the Sundarbans. So that legend, it's not just history, is it? It's like a prophecy. The snake goddess represented the uncontrollable power of nature. Well, guess what? That power is back, in the form of climate change. And it's forcing people to move, often along the very same paths as the gun merchant. So that brings us to the next big idea. The climate is uncanny. How do you even tell a story about a reality that's becoming unbelievable? This is something Ghosh really digs into, and it gets to the heart of what he's trying to do as a writer. So what is the uncanny? It's that feeling when something isn't just weird or mysterious, but creepy, eerie, strangely familiar, but wrong. It's that feeling that the world isn't playing by the rules anymore. And Ghosh's whole argument is that our climate crisis is uncanny. It's so weird, so reality-bending, that normal, realistic novels just can't seem to get a handle on.
And to capture that feeling, he fills the book with all these uncanny events. You've got dolphins committing mass suicide on a beach, swarms of venomous spiders suddenly migrating north, wildfires that just appear out of nowhere, ghostly voices, freak storms in Venice, ancient shipworms eating the city's foundations. It's all designed to make you feel that unsettling weirdness of our current moment, to show you that our reality is starting to feel stranger than any fiction.
All right, final section, connecting a fractured world, breaking down the binaries. So if the world is this uncanny, connected, chaotic place, how are we supposed to deal with it? Ghosh has a pretty clear answer. We have to stop thinking in the same old divided ways.
He starts by playing with these really old, frankly, colonial stereotypes, right? You have the West, the Occident, which is supposed to be rational, scientific, logical, and then you have the East, the Orient, which is framed as mystical, spiritual, and emotional. We've all seen these tropes before.
But then, Ghosh just flips the script. It's brilliant. Take Chinta, the Italian historian. She should be the voice of pure Western reason, right? But no. She's the one who is absolutely certain she can talk to the spirit of her dead daughter. She embraces the uncanny.
And at the same time, you have the Indian American characters, like our main guy Dean, who are constantly looking for the scientific, rational explanation for everything. They're the skeptics. By doing this, Ghosh is showing us how useless these old categories are. You can't solve a global, interconnected problem like climate change if you're stuck in these old, fractured ways of seeing the world.
And really, the ultimate message of the book is about connection. It's summed up perfectly here. We have to look to the past to understand the present and even think about the future. It's about realizing we need it all. We need the science and the myth. We need the logic and the uncanny. That's the only way we can begin to grasp a world as complex as ours. And that leaves us with one last, really provocative question to chew on. If our oldest stories can somehow predict our biggest crises, then what kind of stories do we need to be telling right now about our future? Maybe, just maybe, Gone Island is telling us that the keys to tomorrow are hidden in the tales of yesterday.